Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's focus for Friday, June the 9th, 2023 at 11:51 a.m. Central Time. Today's focus, who am I serving? Who am I serving? Now, for this episode, that question really is directed to me, for me, by me. It's all about me at this moment because I'm asking myself today, this morning, this very question: who am I serving? Who am I serving? Who am I really serving? I know I can say all the right words about who I am serving, but who am I really serving? If I can just pull aside all of the facade, all of the show, all of the pretend, all of the mask, and I get down to it, who am I really serving? So you're going to be listening to me do a little bit of preaching to me, but I'm hoping somehow you listening to me preach to myself. Maybe you will stop today and maybe you will ask yourself that very question. Who are you serving? I mean, really, who are you serving? Why I'm asking myself this question is a kind of a long story, and hopefully you'll show a little grace and let me tell that story, and then hopefully drive the point home, and we can all walk away from this episode going, oh, I think that was pretty good. Hopefully we'll all walk away going, I think I got something from that. And it's really fascinating because, to be honest, when I came up here and sat down, I was more like, I'm frustrated, I'm irritated. What am I going to do? And then there was a newsletter from BBN Radio, Bible Broadcasting Network, right? BBN Radio. It's their newsletter that they send me. It comes about every month or maybe every quarter. And this is the October 2022 newsletter. The only reason it's sitting here is we were doing like a sermon review, and I needed to write down the time that we were stopping the sermon review. And I wrote down 47:02. And this is the only thing I could find to write on. So that's the only reason it was sitting here. It's left over from whenever we were doing a sermon review. And I picked it up, and it said, servants and stewards. And then as soon as I started reading what they had to say, I was like, oh, wow. Basically, immediately the question came to my mind, who am I serving? Who are you really serving? I was just basically started having a conversation with myself. Come on, honestly, who are you serving? And the reason that question came to me is because of all of the events that occurred yesterday. So, with your permission, I guess you don't have to give me your permission. You could say no, but I'm not going to hear you. So, with or without your permission, whether you like this or don't like it, we're going to go back to yesterday, and I'm going to tell you a little story that has led me today to questioning, who am I really serving? And I don't think I like the answer, but are you ready? Here we go. Yesterday, I walked up the stairs to this very studio. I sat down and I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, I know what I'll do. I'll do a quick Today's Focus episode about judgments. Is there one judgment or many judgments? And I'll kind of give everyone a little bit of an assignment. It'll be short. It'll be easy. I don't have to try to find the answers. I can just say, hey, your today's focus is go find out, is there one judgment or many judgments mentioned in the Bible? And do this work. I thought it was a simple idea, but as soon as I started, things went wrong. All right. Because as soon as I started, where I'm supposed to play this music, now, when I play that music, that signifies something, that you are about to hear a Today's Focus podcast episode. That's what you're going to hear, which means you get a very specific intro, right? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today's Focus for Thursday, June the 8th, or it could be January. Good morning. Welcome. I say good morning. Welcome to Today's Focus. I give you the date, right? And I give you the time. And then I say today's focus is, it's a very on purpose introduction. I love to give the timestamp and the date so that you know exactly when the broadcast occurred. And so if I make any references, you know why I'm making those references. That's my own personal preference. I don't think many of you care. Most podcasts don't do that, but I like to do that. And then I want you to know it's a today's focus because it's designed a little differently. And so, but for some reason yesterday, I played the music and then guess what? When I get ready to give my intro, I don't say, "Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's focus." I'm like, "Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, June the 8th, 2023 at 10:52 a.m. Central Time. And I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located here in Abilene, Texas." That's the wrong intro. Now, 99.9% of you would care less, probably don't care. Who cares? Who cares? You probably don't even pay attention to it. Some apps let you skip the intro. So it probably doesn't even matter. But to me, immediately it threw me off because what had happened is as soon as we went live and I picked up my iPad, I ended up dropping the iPad. Then I was worried that the microphone picked up the sound of the iPad dropping. Then I gave the wrong intro. Once I gave the wrong intro, then I had to really quick on my feet go, I'll make that a part of this episode because I'm going to judge that I gave the wrong intro, then give the right intro because we're going to talk about judgments. Okay. See, I'm clever. I'll try to take this bad thing and do something good with it, right? So I make it through it. It's not a good episode. I'm not really explaining things in a very good way. I'm getting more frustrated by the end, but I'm like, it's over. It's done. Okay. Whatever. I'm not going to be happy with it, but at least something is done. I don't have to feel all of this pressure about, I've got to get an episode done. At least I got something done. At least something. It's of some value. I mean, I can at least see at least a little bit of the value in it because I gave everyone something to go study. So there would be value in it. And then I get to the end and I'm like, okay, all right. Thank you, everyone. That was your today's focus for Thursday, June the 8th, 2023. And as soon as I say that, this is supposed to happen. But instead of that, everyone got this. I know what you're thinking. I don't hear anything. Exactly. It wouldn't play. I mean, it was playing, but there was no sound. Like it was playing and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Why will it not play? So then the intro got messed up. The outro got messed up and the content itself wasn't very good. So you can tell by the end of it, I was ready to quit and taking up drinking as my new job, right? I was done. So I immediately went and deleted it. And then then the frustration starts, right? All right. So I just spent, 20 minutes. Well, if you take from the getting everything ready to go, doing everything, about 45 minutes of my time just gone. Nothing to show for it. I didn't benefit anyone. I didn't help anyone. Nothing. So now what do? Do I then set everything back up? Do the broadcast again? Or do I just move on to something else? Well, now I'm so frustrated. I don't know if I can move on to something else, but I don't really want to sit there and do the same thing I just did. So now it's just like, I don't know what to do. 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 So I'm really frustrated. I'm just frustrated and I don't understand. And I'm like, you know what? I just got to figure something else out. So my thinking is I'll go downstairs, I'll do some other things, and then I'll get that feeling like, okay, go back up to the studio and record. I got to record, right? Because who am I serving, right? Who am I serving? Who am I really serving? It's all going to make sense. So I'm going about my day, and then I start getting some really encouraging messages. Some really encouraging messages. Here's one such encouraging message I got. I cannot read all of the language, all right? But this one starts off with the F word, and they call me an F head. They called me an S-bird, that I should be removed from this platform as I use it to post BS. That was encouraging. That was encouraging. And then it tells me to go rant on my unheard of podcast. Now, it's very interesting that it's an unheard podcast. Obviously, they heard it. But, okay, all right, whatever. So, I mean, when you're getting called an F-head, an S-bird, I post BS, what do you... I mean, like, okay, that was good. I'm an idiot, and I'm an utter moron. Those are some more words that were used here. So that was really, I'm already discouraged. I'm already frustrated. And then I get that. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me check my Google email account just to, make sure, nothing, I'm not missing it, because some messages go to the Google account. Some go to the News IF account. And then someone said this: the intro music is to Mr. Rogers, teetering on queerness. And the intro music they're referring to, it's this intro music. It's to Mr. Rogers, and it's teetering on queerness. I did not know sexual preference. I mean, I'm not playing It's Raining Men, right? I'm not. Oh, you remember that song? Don't get me start quoting. I'll start making musical references. No, it's. Maybe if I did, We Will Rock You or We Are the Champions. I mean, because wait, those were. Oh, never mind. I won't go. But yeah. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? It's not really worth it. I'm just going to be honest. Look, I'm just being honest, right? And I won't even go into other emails I received and other things. Those are just, some of the highlights. Those are just some of the highlights. So you start thinking, okay, so my intro is wrong. I post BS. All of these negative words. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And so this is the way I start thinking. Okay, so I don't monetize my podcast. So I'm not making any money off of it, right? Every once in a while, I will remind people that they can donate. I try not to do that too much. So I'm not making money on my podcast, right? I'm not. Like, I could be doing a secular podcast like I tried at one time, called Currently On, and we became the number one trending podcast in the United States of America. We were beating out everyone. We were beating out NPR, ABC, NBC. I mean, we were beating out everything. And then finally Michelle Obama knocked us out of the number one spot. And then, then it was, I had to make a decision. I could pursue Currently On and just pour all of my time and effort into that, right? Talking about movies and TV shows and music. And I could just dedicate my time to that, watching things, talking about things, just making it a fun podcast, right? Having fun with it. And I was making money. I think I made $100 on that podcast in a very short amount of time. And I was looking to find a way to get other sponsors. I was like, I'm going to make some money on this thing. This is going to be a successful podcast, right? So I'm sitting there looking at all the different ways to possibly, but then I had to come to a realization. Wait a minute. If I do that, Theology Central's dead. Theology Central will just be gone. I won't be able to do that. So no, I cannot do that. I can't put this before trying to minister, trying to help people. No, let's stop it. So I'm very aware that, look, I'm spending hour after hour after hour after hour after hour after hour of my life sitting in front of a microphone trying to minister to people. And not yesterday just happened to happen at the wrong time. But there's been too many times in my Christian life where I realize it's Christians. It's usually professing Christians who email me who are the most unloving, rude, inconsiderate, attacking, condemning people on the face of the earth. Anytime I've ever been emailed by an atheist, an agnostic, even people who are pro-LGBTQ, I've always been treated with respect. But when it comes to sometimes Christians, it's just so maddening how they can be so discouraging and disheartening and want you to just give up. But so I just started really thinking, why am I doing it? Like just end the podcast. Just end it. It's not worth it, right? What's the point? What's the point? And you start really second guessing yourself. You're like, I'm not making any money off this. I'm spending money to it's costing money. It costs my time. Look how many episodes I do a year. Like I could do this. I could be spending time doing this. There's all these other things I could do, right? I could be doing this with my time. What's the point? So I was having a little bit of a pity party. And then I came up today to the studio. And again, there was a newsletter sitting here from October 2022. Why it's still on the desk, I have no idea. Probably because I don't throw things away. And it was folded over, right? So I didn't even see the top of it. All I could see was a car at a drive-through window, right? And then I start reading these words. And they just happened to be in front of me, and I just glanced down because I didn't know what I wanted to record. Didn't know what I wanted to do today. And I read these words. We've all experienced less than stellar service before. Once at a fast food drive-thru, I ordered 2 soft drinks, 1 cola and 1 root beer. As the young man at the window began to hand me the unmarked cups, I asked him which was the root beer. Removing the lid of one of the cups, he placed his nose uncomfortably close to the liquid and inhaled deeply before proudly declaring, "This was the root beer." I couldn't help but laugh as I stammered, "Did you really just sniff my soft drink?" As the realization of what happened suddenly sank in, the young man smiled and said, "Let me get you a fresh one." Serving others is hard because it requires not only doing what is expected of you, but also doing so in the manner that is expected of you. You expect your soft drinks to be prepared and handed to you. However, you probably would not expect the person handing them to you to sniff them first. Now, that may not mean anything to you. You may laugh about that. You may want to go on a full-blown rant about customer service and, drive-thrus in 2023. But for me, it made me go, wait a minute. Serving others is hard. And I stopped right there. And I asked myself this question: who am I serving? See, if I'm really serving other people, if that's really my focus, then who cares if some people say you're these explicit words, you're a moron, you're an idiot, you post God. I can't help that, right? Because all I can do is try to serve. If they don't want it, they don't like it, then they can stop listening or they can just email and attack me. If people think my theme music is teetering on queerness, whatever that means, I guess I could change the theme music to be more masculine. I could bring in some metal, maybe. Judas Priest isn't the lead. Okay, never mind. Okay. All right. It's just when people say things about music, sometimes it just drives me crazy. All right. But all right, I guess I don't know what I could do. I don't know. I could try to make changes to please people. But the thing is about all of that is you start kind of realizing, wait a minute, who am I serving? Because I'm getting upset because of how it makes me feel. In other words, immediately I start realizing I'm serving myself. Like, am I really serving others in doing this podcast? Well, I can pat myself on the back and go, I don't monetize it. I mean, Spreaker contacted me, I think yesterday or the day before, going, have you seen your recent numbers? You need to monetize your podcast. You're throwing away money. Monetize your podcast now. Come on, we'll help you out. Just click on monetize. We'll put the ads there for you. And I'm like, not going to monetize it, not going to monetize it. Because to me, that would be doing a theology podcast for myself. I would be making money off of it. And I don't want to do that. I mean, if people want to give, that's one thing, but I'm not going to turn it into a commercialized product. It's just, I just feel like I can't do that. Maybe the day will come, well, I have to do that because it's like, there's no other way to support the podcast unless I monetize it. I would hate for it to ever come to that. But, so I can pat myself on the back and go, I don't monetize it. I can pat myself on the back and go, man, we do almost 900 episodes a year. There's no one outworking me. There's no one outworking me. All right. I don't have writers. I don't have producers. I don't have anybody. It's just me, other than the few people who will help me do different things. And I'm very appreciative of that help. But I'm just saying it's me, sitting in this room. It's just me. I don't have anyone pushing the buttons or helping me. I don't have an earpiece where a producer is behind a window saying, I don't have someone, I don't have anything like that. So I'm like, okay, I can pat myself on the back and go, okay, good. 900 episodes. I don't monetize. All right. But then I start thinking, well, wait a minute. Who am I really serving? Who am I really serving? Am I doing all of this because it makes me feel good? Am I doing all of this because I want to hear myself talk? Am I doing all of this because I like seeing on Listen Notes that we're one of the top, we're in the top 10% of all podcasts, placing now our podcast now ranks over 3 million other podcasts. Ooh, does that make me feel good? Does it make me feel like I'm succeeding? Does it make me feel like I'm successful? Does it mean I'm accomplishing anything? Well, maybe sometimes I grab onto that and that keeps me motivated, but that's the wrong motivation, right? The motivation can't be, well, look at how many people are listening to me. That can't be the motivation. The motivation can't even be how many people like me versus how many people hate me. My motivation can't be how many people send me positive emails versus how many people send me negative emails. And then you really see what your motivation is when you get so discouraged when people attack you or say something negative and you want to give up. Then you kind of realize maybe the motivation has been me the whole time. Maybe who I'm really serving is myself. Maybe I'm just a selfish jerk who does a Christian podcast in order to serve his own self, his own ego, his own desire. Maybe the issue is me. In this newsletter, after they give this little example, and again, they say serving others is hard because it requires not only doing what is expected of you, but also doing so in the manner that is expected of you. I would say serving others is hard because you have to really be putting other people before you. But this continues on the third page of the newsletter, and it says this: being a servant is a big part of what being a follower of Jesus Christ means. And then they quote 1 Corinthians 4:1. And I'm going to read it from the King James. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ and stewards of the mysteries of God. Well, hey, let people consider me a minister of Christ. That sounds like, woo, I'm a minister of Christ. But if you read it in other translations, it reads this way: let a man regard us in this manner as servants of Christ. Now, if we look up the Greek word here, because it's in 1 Corinthians, if we go to the Blue Letter Bible app, if I can find it. I had it open. I probably closed it. Here it is. 1 Corinthians 4:1. Let a man so account of us as of the ministers of Christ. If you click on that, open up the interlinear, ministers, it's this Greek word. You ready?
Strong's G 5257. Huperetes. Huperetes.
Huperetes. Huperetes is used 20 times. 11 times is translated officer, 5 times minister, 4 times servant. So it can be translated servant. It's Strong's definition of huperetes is an under oarsman, subordinate. An under oarsman. And I'm like, what is that? So I looked at the outline of biblical usage, and maybe this will clarify this. This comes from Thayer's Greek lexicon, basically. An under rower, subordinate rower. And I'm like, an under rower, subordinate rower. So I went back to the newsletter, and they say this. The word for servant used here literally means under rower. One who steers a ship under the orders of another. They do what is expected of them in the way that they are expected to do it. That is what being a servant is, an under rower. Now, if you're rowing, especially on big ships, the rowers, you couldn't see it. The rowers were underneath. They weren't on the top of the deck. They're under the deck, right? And they're in there rowing. If you've ever seen, photos of it or descriptions of it or seen it in a movie. So in a sense, a servant is one who is serving, not necessarily being seen. It's not about them. They're not the one standing on the deck, barking out the orders, right? They're not seen. They're the under rower. They're under someone else. The attention is on that person giving the orders. The servant is not seen. The servant is not there, but just is serving. So if I'm supposed to be a servant, I'm supposed to simply be rowing. And who am I serving? Well, first and foremost, I'm supposed to be serving Christ. And secondly, I'm supposed to be serving the people, hopefully, who listen to the podcast. Now, I could turn on the microphone every day and go, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's focus. I'm your servant in Jesus Christ. I'm not saying podcasts to do that are wrong, because there's a specific podcast where they always start off by telling everyone that they are your servant in Jesus Christ. And I do like that. I just know if I said that, most of the time it would not be genuine, because a lot of times I don't think I'm serving you. I'm serving me. I'm serving me. And I know when I'm serving me is when things go a little bit wrong, then I want to throw, if I want to give up and I just say, forget it. It's like, why am I spending all of these hours and all of this time? Why am I giving up money? I've got the equipment. Use it to make money. Use it to get something for yourself. If I wouldn't even think that way if I was truly serving other people. So I'm supposed to serve Christ. And that means it's not about me. It's about him. Now, I'm so aware of my struggle with this. That's why I don't give my name. That's why on our church sign, my name is not there. If we were to send out any material to anyone, my name would not appear on any of it, because it's not about me. So, but I do that not because I'm godly. I do that because I know how ungodly I am. I know I would make it about me. But I'm supposed to be a servant. I'm supposed to be serving and not serving. It's easy to say I'm serving you when it's really about me. So who are you serving today? See, this is the way it's supposed to work for all of us, not just me as a Christian podcaster, not just me. I mean, just consider me a Christian just like you, right? If you go to Philippians chapter 2, we read these words, right? Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. Here we go. Philippians chapter 2, verse 3. Philippians 2:3. Let nothing be done through strife or vain glory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. My approach when I sit down in front of this microphone is, first and foremost, I'm an under rower. I'm not to get the attention. I'm not to be seen. I am irrelevant. I'm just doing the rowing. I'm not to be seen, right? Nobody sees me. Nobody knows the names of the rowers. They know the names of the captain of the ship. They don't know the name of the rowers. I'm not to be seen, heard from, known. When I die, no one even knows that I disappeared. Like, that's how it's supposed to be. I'm no one, right? I'm supposed to decrease to the point of invisibility. Who I am is irrelevant. Right? So I'm supposed to be serving first and foremost Christ, and second, supposed to be serving all of you who listen. And I can't, and if I'm truly serving you, then if that's my focus, then it doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter if people hate me. It doesn't matter if there's 2 listeners, 50 listeners, 1,000 downloads. Doesn't matter what it costs. Doesn't matter the sacrifice. If I'm truly serving other people. But so many times ministry turns in a way for the minister, for that the person ministering is really serving themselves, because they are the ones who then benefit greatly from it. So for you, what do you do out of strife and vainglory? What do you do when it comes to serving? Because we're all called to be servants. We're all called to be ministers, right? In fact, I wonder if it's the same Greek word. Let me look here really quick. I got to find the passage. I could be wrong. So don't quote me on this. I didn't think about it till just right now. Let's see here. Well, yeah, I don't think it's going to be, it can't be the same Greek word. Let me look at it really quick. I wonder if it has any correlation to it. Hang on, let me look here. I'm not going to tell you if it's not. No way it's going to be the exact same Greek word. See here. Okay, well, it's going to have the same. It's not the exact same Greek word, but the same idea is there. All right. We all know that the purpose of the church, all right? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 11, that, the church was given apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers for the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry. That the purpose of the church is to equip you for ministry. You are to minister. Well, that Greek word for ministry, it is this Greek word.
Strong's G 1248. Diakonia.
Diakonia, service, especially those who execute the command of others. It's the same concept. You're being equipped to minister, to serve others under the command of someone else. It's the same concept is there. It's not as strong a word, but the same concept is there. So just as I have to figure out who am I serving, you got to figure out who you're serving today. Are you really serving others? Are you really serving the people around you? Are you serving them for your benefit? Because you can serve others for you. A pastor can serve a church for his benefit. He can serve a small church, have it grow, then use that milestone, that accomplishment, to then get a job at a bigger church. You can serve by going to a conference to preach the word of God and get paid serious money because people paid $100 or $200 to get in to hear you preach. Right? I mean, there's so many times that we can be serving others, but in reality, we're only serving ourselves. I can sit in front of this microphone and I can pat myself on the back. My podcast is not monetized. Woohoo! Look at me. We don't put any content behind a paywall. Woohoo! Look at how godly I am. Okay. We produce more content than pretty much anyone. Woohoo! Look at how godly I am. All right. We almost never ask for money in any way, shape, or form. Woohoo! Look at how godly I am. We try to give. But the reality is I can still do all of that, and I may not be getting the monetary benefit, but I can still do it for selfish reasons. Yeah, people are going to say mean things. All right. But it doesn't matter if my focus is on serving people, right? You forgive. You turn the other cheek, you love your enemy, and you keep serving because that's what you're called to do. And if I'm serving Christ, that's what I'm supposed to do. And speaking of frustration, the Church One app just once again just sent out another notification. We are having some serious internet issues today. See, now all I need is, see, if this goes wrong, then I'm going to spend all day having a pity party. Who are you serving today? Who am I serving? I'm supposed to be serving Christ and others. But I always find a way to really be serving myself. Who are you supposed to be serving today? Are you doing it without strife, without vainglory? Are you putting others before yourself? Or are you putting yourself before others? All right. I'm going to take it as a hint because 1 minute ago we got a notification that Theology Central has started a live webcast, meaning that the connection was interrupted to some level, and then Church One sent out a new notification because it reconnected. That is a pretty good indicator that something is about to go horribly wrong, and then I'm going to lose everything. So I don't think I have articulated this as clearly as I wanted to. But I do want you to consider yourself a servant today and ask yourself who you're serving. Email me your... Do I want to give out my email? Email me your views on my Mr. Rogers, quote, I guess, homosexual sounding intro music to newsif@yahoo.com. newsif@yahoo.com. And also, if you're going to insult me, just so that you know, just using explicit language, it's not that shocking, okay? You obviously don't know my background and how I grew up. You're going to have to do more than just, you can say a couple of cuss words like, he said a naughty word. What am I going to do? You're going to have to bring a better game than that, really, because it almost seems childish, right? It's like it just feels like, yeah. So just so that, you got to have a better way. If you're going to have a better way. But hopefully what I have done is taken the negative and used it. Hopefully. Now you can still hear in my voice. Obviously there's a little bit of it that still bothers me. I'm not trying to coming across spiritual, but I am trying to use what happened for me to look at myself. And am I a servant? And if I am, who am I serving? Well, I'm called to be a servant. Sadly, I serve myself more than I serve God or others. So, forgive me for my failure to be the right kind of servant. Pray that I will be a better servant. And hopefully you will look at yourself today and ask yourself, the very important question, who are you serving? And that is your today's focus for Friday, June the 9th, 2023.